This is a space of discovery. This is a space of remembrance. Join A.L. Garris and welcome to this space.
Welcome to the space. Welcome to the space. A.L. Garris space. A space for you, a space for me, a space for us. Let's talk. Let's hang out. Let's go over some spaces of us. We've been into the understanding of boundaries. If you've caught another episode here or there, boundaries, that's a big one. Setting them, standing behind them, being okay with them. And I thought into that space a little bit more, and I was thinking it would be really good for us to look at some backup, some support you have, some support I have when I'm setting my boundaries, when you're setting your boundaries. We actually have a support system. It's built in. Nobody's without it. But for many of us, it's kind of inactive, dormant, just not quite fully on yet. So we're going to talk about turning that support system on. And it can support us with more than just setting boundaries. It can support us with finding more self-love, being able to receive our own love. It can support us with forgiving ourselves for things we might have done or said or should have done and maybe could have said. It can support us in choices, decisions that we're on the fence about, and then we're just not really positive which way to go. This support system that you have, that I have, is available 24/7. And funny enough, one of the biggest reasons it's not on or active for everyone or most people is because we look for the support, we look for the guidance, we look for the answers everywhere else. And that's not always wrong, because if it was, you wouldn't be watching this now, would you? And I really like that you're watching this. But this is a reminder of the power you hold within your own being. That support system that's inside of you. A guiding mechanism, if you will. A guiding reference point. Some people call it a higher self. Some people call it the divine. Their angels, their guides, their guardians. There's a lot of different reference points, and all of those reference points, they go to like a bit of a different interpretation, But all of us have this support system. And I know that there can be times where it feels like there is no support. It can feel as if you're all alone and nobody can hear you. But you are loved and you are supported. It's innate within you. And if you can lean in, even in the moments where it may feel as if nobody's listening, you have no idea what to do next. If you can lean in just a little bit further, and if you can listen with your heart, that guidance is there. That guidance will show up, not only in the way in which you feel or sense or have a knowing, but the guidance will also show up in your reflection, your outer world, with confirmations and synchronicities and signs that back up you're not alone. I have a spiritual community that I built several years ago, and it's a fantastic international community. And we have a few sayings in our community, and one of the sayings is, "You're surrounded by love." And we really are. That support system is around us and within us. And what happens, the inactivity of that, or the inability to sense, feel, register that support system, is usually due to the fact that our senses, our feelings, our thoughts are all constantly tapping into exterior spaces of reference. So outer world, outside life, what's going on with so-and-so, what's happening with work, what's happening with whatever it is. We're so geared into the outer reflection that we're not available. We're not available to the inner guidance system. So we're going to talk about this. Let's look at this a little bit deeper. Activating your inner guidance system, turning it back on because it's available. You're designed masterfully to register, read, and understand your world through your divine flow, through your inner knowing, through your intuition, through your gut. Have you ever heard that one before? I felt it in my gut. I had a gut feeling. It's because you actually have a system inside your body that registers where you're headed, what you're connecting with, and sends you a message if you're headed in the right direction, or if you're connecting with something that's good or maybe not so good. You get a gut feeling. You know this. How many times have you been in a situation or had even a name come up on the phone, so-and-so just texted you, or so-and-so just emailed you, or so-and-so just called you. And if you really like the person and your energy's in very good connection with them, they're a positive influence in your life, you could get excited, right? Joyful, butterflies in your stomach, depending upon the connection, right? That's your gut. That's your inner guidance system doing its thing. And then you see the name, you see the reference, the notification, and maybe it's a person that is not top of your list for optimal alignment. And your gut does the opposite. You get this dread feeling in your stomach. And you feel your energy drop down as if that mechanism, that warning system, that guidance system is going off, and it is letting you know that's not an alignment that is optimal for you. Or, please hear this as well, that's an alignment that needs some love. It needs some tending to. It needs some change, some shift. So this internal system, it's available. And this is a connection point with the higher self. The term used in spiritual community, higher self, can be seen as many times a space of you, but almost outside of you, wiser than you, more powerful than you. In some ways, people begin to seek that assistance of that higher self, almost as if they are seeking the assistance of God, some entity, something outside of them to save them, to make everything better. And there's this opportunity right now for us to look at that a little bit differently and realize it's us. Your higher self is you. Yes. Your higher self is you remembering who you are. I tell my community members, my course students, my clients to talk to themselves. And everybody always giggles when I say that the first time, because I know there's been this, viewpoint of talking to yourself as if you're crazy if you do so, right? But you are the most important person you would ever talk to. You are the most important person you will ever talk to. Yes. And you should listen to yourself. You should really listen to yourself as you would listen to your dearest friend. And then be available to respond to yourself. Answer yourself, whether that's verbally with your own mouth, like, oh, I don't know what we should do about this. I'm not sure. What should I do about this? Well, why are you questioning it? Well, because if I do this, then that's going to open the door to this and this and that. And why is that not good? Do you see how I'm like going back and forth? I'm not just stating what should I do. I'm then communicating with myself. Okay, well, why are you questioning what we should do? And it can get really interesting in a good way, and you can have fun with it. I make myself laugh all the time. And I think that's a good thing. Be your best friend. Be your biggest cheerleader. Be your best confidant. Tell yourself the things you need to hear. And what happens is, not only are you activating that inner guidance system, not only are you activating your divine flow of your higher self, your higher heart, your higher mind, but you're actually shifting the connection you hold with the outer world. When you start listening to you, they can start listening to you. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, strangers. That's a reflection. So if you're not listening to you and you're not deeming your words worthy, if you're not enough for you, that reflection can't come in. That experience of being enough, that experience of being valued, that experience of being heard cannot come in because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to be that alignment. Does this make sense to you? So activating that inner guidance system happens when you give that inner guidance system the availability to be active. If you and I are coming from a space where we don't believe it's real, it can't be real. If we don't believe it really works, it has no opportunity to work. Give it a space to be available. Give it a space to work. This is a really big one for a lot of people. Self-trust, self-love, self-worth are all involved here. It's not actually completely your fault if you have any issue with self-love, self-worth. There have been so many societal, cultural belief structures, programs, teachings, methods of belief that have been installed, given to all of us, that have really, in many ways, disconnected us from being able to have self-love. There's just, I mean, this isn't supposed to be like a depressing segment of what's wrong with everything, but I want you to see that even though there may have been a space in which someone said, if you don't look this way, you're not beautiful, or if you're not able to do this or be that, you're not enough. A good woman does this. A strong man does that, I want you to be able to see in this moment that there have been beliefs given to us that have, in many ways, purposefully created distance between ourselves and our inner knowing, our inner guidance, and our divine flow. So you're a human being, you're having a human experience, but you're also an eternal being. You have a soul. You had a space before this one. You'll have a space after this one. That's the part of you that you are in this very moment. If you're still listening to this space, you're giving yourself the opportunity to know that space of you more, to activate that space of you at a new level. Whether you're a super spiritual person and you're hearing this and you're moving into the next level of that super spiritual you, or you've never heard of any of this before, higher self has not been a term you've had in your vocabulary. You just came here because you heard another one of these segments on boundaries and you thought that lady sounded pretty cool. And now you're listening to some woman tell you you're an eternal being having the now. It doesn't matter where you're coming in at. There's something here for everyone. There's expansion always available. Every one of us, we're never done. We're always moving into the next space of us. So as you remember these things, you're giving them the chance to activate. As you ponder them and think about them, you're giving them the chance to be a space of connection for you. So my producer just waved her hand at me, so this means she has something to say. Let's see what she'd like to add. Okay, that's a good one. Differentiating voices. Thank you. All right, so in case it's not super clear, beautiful producer, love her so much. Aria, she just said to me, what would be the difference between differentiating between the voice in your head directing you in a good way, and maybe sometimes people's voice in their head isn't telling them a message of their higher self. Okay, that's really important. Remember how we started the conversation off about how your body's designed to actually register and give you signs if you're headed in the right direction or you're not. When you hear the voice in your head, if it doesn't make you feel loved, if it makes you feel sad, if it makes you feel afraid, that is not coming from your higher self. That is coming from the self. I like to call it the separated self, which makes sense if you just think about the two words, higher self, separated self. Separated self is the part of you that, and we all have the separated self, and sometimes we go in and out of separated self. But the separated self is the one that thinks nobody likes me. The one that thinks nobody listens to me. I'm all alone. I keep messing it up. Because we have separated ourselves out from our wholeness. What is wholeness? Wholeness is the space of you that remembers it's eternal and it's having a now. This is a blip. That's a big one sometimes, right? Because some things in life don't feel like blips. They feel like blocks, huge mountains, but it's okay. It's all part of the journey, and it's all part of the remembering, the allowing that process of growth and expansion as you're registering what your voice is saying. Is this coming from my separated self? Or is this coming from my higher self? They're both you, but the one is removed in a sense from its anchor of love, and it's off into the spaces of fear. Yes. Absolutely. So talking to yourself, she says, is almost like your higher self talking to your separated self. I love that. Maybe we'll get her on camera one day. She giggles in the background. All right. So that's beautiful. So think about that. And how funny is it that we did say that there are belief structures, programs of belief, behaviors taught to us that kind of keep us from our higher self. They kind of keep us from that trust level, that self-love level that gives us that empowerment, right? And then we say, talk to yourself. And one of those beliefs is, if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. Isn't that funny? Because if we are talking to ourselves and we're coming from that state of understanding of the higher self to the separated self, the higher self to the even part of us that's kind of teetering in and out of separated self, right? Then we're actually engaging, opening, connecting, activating our power. So even, people say imagination isn't real. I think it's a tool. I think it's a powerful tool of creation. You want to be wealthy? Well, imagine you are. Whatever you put that focus upon, you're infusing it with the potential energy of becoming, And what do we put most of our focus on? What beliefs and programs are we taught? It's in our movies, it's in our books, it's in our music, it's in our history. Through education, we're taught these spaces of limitation, of separation, of division, because all of those spaces run at a way of existence that is more controllable. It's more manipulatable. You can manipulate it more. Empowered people are not as controllable. Empowered people who remember who they are, empowered people who remember who they are and live from that are engaging their divinity, and that divinity will be reflected in the world around them. We're changing the world. We truly are. We're changing the world as we're changing ourselves. The outer world is the reflection. We've talked about that before. These spaces of understanding the way in which the human body is designed and the way in which the human mind works in connection with the reflection, the world around you. That's the game changer. That's the game changer. I'm not a big instructions reader. Everybody in my family knows that. And they laugh. I buy an item, it comes with instructions. I just want to push the buttons and figure it out. Everybody's different. My husband, he likes to read every single word of the instructions before we open anything. And neither one are wrong. They're just different, and that's fun. But it is powerful. I will give in to this. It is powerful to have some instructions or knowing of the way something works, and to understand the power you hold inside your own mind, the power you hold in your own body, the way your body has feelings and sensations that guide you, that are that system of divine connection of your higher knowing. That is a powerful instruction to have. So this is like the one time I'll say, read the instructions, okay? And nobody gives them to you, do they? Really? When you're born, you come out into this world and you begin to grow up, and you're taught your alphabet and your numbers, and you're taught words and languages and concepts that they deem responsible for you to learn. I think it would be really responsible to learn how powerful your mind is, how powerful your body is, how powerful you are, that you're a creator being, and you're inhabiting a now lifetime to explore, expand, and understand yourself and the world around you in a new way. That'd be pretty important, I think. Can you imagine a 6-year-old who has that kind of understanding starting to take root in their being? And instead of being taught your imagination is not real and talking to yourself is crazy and you need to always look to somebody else to give you guidance and to reassure you on what you should do and shouldn't do. That's instilling, in my opinion, a very big lack of trust in yourself, and even lack of self-love and self-worth, because you're being told from day one, you better go get it from somewhere else because you definitely don't have it. And so I'm like saying the opposite here today. For some, this may be the very first time you're hearing this. And it may be like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm able to trust myself, answer myself, guide myself. Wait, what? And for some, this may be something you've engaged and you're comfortable with. But every single human being has the ability, and I think in many ways the responsibility, to learn to allow these spaces, to learn to trust yourself, to learn to love yourself. Many times when you're in the learning process of trusting yourself and loving yourself, I would say all of the time, you're also in the process of healing yourself. Because as you are learning to trust you, you're defusing all of the connection points that told you why you shouldn't trust yourself. And I get it when Aria mentioned the voice could be the separated self. So I get it. But are you available to the opportunity of being able to become aware of the separated self and how the body responds, how the being, your body, your being, how do you feel when you're hearing whatever you're hearing and you're realizing it's the separated self? In that moment, you're actually expanding. You're actually healing yourself. You're actually shifting your energy. The reflection, your world around you, the job you have, the car you drive, the house you live in, the clothes you wear, the people that are your friends, the way your family treats you, all of the aspects of your life are an energetic connection, reflection point of your beliefs. If you're healing the spaces of yourself that think you can't trust your own self, you're healing or shifting, changing energy alignments that are connected to experiences you're having in your life. So the relationships you have that might be, I just don't understand why I can never trust them. And why do they always think they can't trust me? I just don't understand why I keep repeating this same type of relationship. Because it's the same type of relationship you have with yourself. You're not trusting you. So how can they? And or they want to trust you. They don't have a problem. They want to trust you, but you can't receive or allow them to trust you. You sabotage it in some way because you're not in the alignment yourself already with your own being, with your own thoughts, with your own connections with you. And this isn't said to be like, I'm judging you, I'm condemning you, look what you did to screw this up. This is like, hey, are you ready to go in a different direction? Are you ready to move something, shift something, change something? This is what I always say to my students in my courses. This isn't judgment. This is information. When you have information, you have a choice. You have an opportunity to use the information for your benefit. I can give you all the information in the world. We can have the most beautiful, vast, expansive conversations. And you can replay them, rewatch them, return to them 1,000,000 times over. And I would be really happy if you did, because I really want my YouTube channel to do well. That's just a joke. It's just a little bit of a joke, a little bit of humor, but reality as well. But if they just are something you listen to, if it's just a good book you've read and it's on that shelf, it's not being implemented. It's not being activated by the way you're living your life, then it's just good information. There's nothing wrong with that, but what I'm trying to convey is the power lies in your hands. The information's available. This could be something you've heard a million times before, but today it hit different. Today it landed in a new way. Why? Because you're in a new space of you. You're registering and interpreting a little bit differently than the last time you heard somebody talk about trusting yourself. Than the last time you heard somebody talk about if you have inner knowing that you could actually depend on. You're in a little bit of a different space than the last time somebody talked about believing you're guided and protected by divine connections. You're in a little bit of a different space. For some of you, you're in a lot different space. So it's got the opportunity to land different. And you have the opportunity to allow it to. Your life's not wrong. It's what it needs to be for you right now. Every single experience is a message. And somebody right now saying, well, I never really cuss, I'm not going to cuss here because Aria would have to fix everything, But somebody hearing me say, your life is what it needs to be for you right now because it's a message, and that maybe make you angry or sad because you think, why would I ever send myself this message? I feel you. I feel your heart as you're registering that. And I must remind you, you're surrounded by love. Listen just a little longer with your heart. Lean in just a little further. You're right there. That space is about to clear. That part of life is about to change and shift, and a new door is opening. This was important. You needed to hear that. So it's said, there you go, it's at your feet. You do with it what you will. Let the door open. Trust yourself, walk through it. Listen to yourself, listen with your heart. Know that you're surrounded by love. If the voice is saying something that doesn't feel like love, tell it to be quiet and listen to a new voice. Lean in and tell yourself, wait a minute, that's not love. That's not safe. I don't believe that's my higher self. Talk through it. Be available. Trust your spiritual team. Everybody's got a different take on that. That's okay. We're vast. I believe God's too big to be boxed. You can have your own box that's got its own name if you want. But I believe there'll be a lot of different names and a lot of different boxes. And everybody's allowed to have their own. Trust your spiritual team. For some of you, that's your past loved ones. You've got a mom that's no longer in the physical, or a dad that passed away, or a sibling, or a child. For some of you, that hits really big, but there's a connection there. They're with you as well. There's no separation. We're just in different formats. My father died when I was like 23 years old. I feel his presence more with me now, and have since he passed away, than when he was in the physical. I had to go and see him and hang out with him. Now he can be with me any moment, all moments. For some of you, your spiritual team, your guides, your guardians, it's your past loved ones. They're watching over you. And when you lean in and you ask a question, and you're listening to your self, picture your loved ones around you. Imagine them around you. Envision them around you. Picture guardians, guides. Whatever this is for you, Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Goddess, God, whatever this is for you. And you know what? That can change too as you change. Picture yourself surrounded by love, by loving beings, star beings. Some of you, it's star beings, Pleiadians, Arcturians, Lyrans. Why do I say this? Because you're taught by the world outside of you to picture everything that could go wrong and everything that is going wrong all the time. You're told there could be war. You're told there's a riot. You're told there's a this, there's a that, there's a storm, there's a hurricane, there's a whatever. There's a lot being told. That's why you should be afraid. So tell yourself, create it, envision it, of why you should feel safe and loved. Why? You're going to balance yourself. You're living in a human existence with a lot of information. Put some information in that brings in the balance. Every time something outside of you reminds you of why you should be afraid, interject why you should feel safe. Do it. I'm telling you, it works. I lived in a totally different alignment the majority of my life. Not that it was a bad alignment, I was just learning. But in that alignment, I was afraid of everything. I'd have bad dreams and nightmares. I would create all kinds of scenarios in my head. And then in my late 40s, I realized I could create positive scenarios as well. I could envision angels around me or guardians, strong. For me, I like a strong masculine guardian. You design yours your way. And it began to change everything for me. And my world, my outer world, started feeling less fearful and more playful, more joyful. The power's in your hands. The support system is there. You just have to be available to see them. The support system is right here. You just have to be available to activate it. And it activates by your connection. It activates by your allowance. Interesting, this thought comes in, a phrase I think most people have heard. Use it or lose it. Have you ever heard that phrase before? For some people, that's related to like working out and staying physically active so that they don't lose their strength and their ability, their agility. But you could also allow it to be an understanding of that support system inside you, your higher self, your inner knowing, your intuition. I think a lot of us lost it because we didn't know we could use it. And what I'm here to tell you today, to remind you of today, to encourage you today, is to remember you can use it. And it doesn't have to be lost. one glance from you, and the activation happens. One trusting moment on your part, and the activation happens. The higher self is pinged. Just like you get a notification on your phone when somebody contacts you, one of your apps is doing something. Your higher self gets a notification from you the moment your focus is given to that space. And your higher self begins to reconnect in and activate on as you give it the opportunity and availability to do so. Listen to yourself, trust yourself, allow yourself. You are surrounded by love, and you are that love. I've been honored to be this space with you today. Thank you for being it with me. Till I see you next time, blessings.